Because again,
I
we
love
started
how
dating.
I'm coming up with code names for all of
I
my
don't
guys,
give it.
and
You
you're
know
just
what?
outing everybody.
And also, if you date me, you know exactly what you're getting. You know I'm going to talk about
Okay,
stuff.
same. Thank you. I feel like people should know that
You
when they
know
come into
this.
my life.
You know that we have this called disaster daters. Like, you know this. And I feel like even a lot of them, like the one, who now he moved, he was like, am I on disaster daters? He's like, because I would be insulted if I wasn't. I was like, we mentioned you. And the other one's like, you talk about me. I was like, you wish I talked about you.
I'm Zach Peter.
I'm Jeff Epstein.
I'm a disaster dater.
I'm a disaster.
All right, we are back. Disaster Daters Season 2. Jeffrey, are you excited to be back in this like nicer studio? I feel like we finally like have got some respect here at Spotify.
Is it let me upgrade you? We walked in and we were presented with this beautiful studio.
Yeah.
Lush. It's basically like when Kyle Richards upgraded her house from that first one.
Yes. And see, the thing is, I think I like maybe almost like this studio better than our Pop Report studio, which is fine because I know Andy was shading our last studio last time, and now look where we're at.
We're in a cozy studio. Zach and I are both looking top tier. It's not reading for me. We were just discussing. Zach looks phenomenal.
Look at this. Look at the lighting. Look at well, I mean, I do have a ton of like fake tanner on right now. Some give them la la glow. But like look at that. Look at the triceps, Jeffrey.
Yeah. So I'm actually quite fit at the moment, and I've lost like 22 pounds. It's not reading on camera. I don't know why I look exactly the same. Zach agrees. It's just but in person, I'm looking quite different. But I'm feeling fit. I will be getting more tan for the next recording. Zach got a spray tan.
Well, it's really just fake bronzer that was
Lala.
caked on. Give them Lala Starlit bronzer, yeah. Because I just
Should
wanted.
you be saying that name right now?
Yes, I will fucking say it all day long.
What's so funny? I don't even know what's happening. I just keep seeing it. I'm like, why is everyone arguing? And then I keep seeing you being like, I'm not even gonna say her name. Don't worry, guys. And I'm like, what are you guys even talking about?
People are so like Ariana obsessed that they hate Lala, and God forbid you say anything nice about Lala or defend her in any way, shape, or form. Because I was like, guys, why are you being like crazy, unhinged cuckoo birds? This woman's literally like pregnant and hormonal, and you guys like find joy out of making her cry on her podcast by being so vile to her.
I think everyone is super crazy and cuckoo, and everyone goes rabid, and it's so invested in such a disgusting, weird way. And yeah, I think just whatever it's fine to have opinion. Listen, I don't particularly like Lala either, but like I'm not like what you know what I mean.
They're like slamming her podcast ratings and like dragging.
Don't do it to us either, because it's.
Oh, they've been doing it to No Filter for weeks at this. Every day it's like, oh, another 1-star review. Oh, 5 more 1-star reviews. Oh, okay, great.
I was like,
they bring joy in bringing down the rate. He's like, stop responding to people on Twitter. And I'm like, but I can't when they're stupid. I want to respond to them because they're morons.
No, I'm like, keep your fucking mouth shut. Listen, I get it. Also, you know me. I'm a very like aggressive, not aggressive. That's the wrong word. But I'm a tenacious person. I'm very opinionated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All this stuff. But I'm like, listen, when it comes to business, I'm like, shut it. So
I don't know
leave
how
good
to shut my
reviews for
mouth.
disaster daters.
Yeah, please leave us good reviews.
Did we get any?
We're really funny.
From the.
Yeah, we got a lot from last time.
No, I mean bad ones from this.
We did. They didn't leave us any bad reviews, but they were just leaving us 1 star, so it did bring our rating down a little bit. But it's okay. We can recover. It's not as bad as their trashing
much like
No
my
Filter.
credit at the current moment. It's going down, but
same.
My debt consolidator was like, it will recover. I was like, bitch, it's taking a really big dip.
Yeah,
like a really big dip
in time. It's okay. Debt consolidation is fun. But we're not here to talk about debt or Vanderpump Rules. We're here to talk about what disaster daters we are.
And the past few months, and honestly, it's so crazy because I feel like, let's see, we last recorded in February. It is now June 13th, Olsen Twins' birthday, and my birthday's tomorrow.
My birthday's Saturday.
And, yeah.
We're only a day apart.
No.
You're the 14th.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh, my
the
God.
15th.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, tomorrow's Thursday. You're right. Okay. You're right. I was thinking the 16th. But in the last few months, and I've like kind of updated Zach, but I was like, I'll save it for here.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like, do I say dating, sex life? Just there's been so much overlap. The web that I've weaved, a lot of this related to like where I go to CrossFit, has been so insane.
So wait, it also feels like it's been like a year since we taped the last season. Like I feel like it's only been 4 months, but I feel like so much has happened. We both said like I was like we need to do like a new promo shoot because we don't even look the same as when we did.
Well,
last
apparently
season.
I do here, but no, and we really don't look the same. We have
Yeah. So what is your current status? Are you single? Are you dating?
Well, here's the thing. I would say I was still like single throughout this entire time. I didn't never have had a boyfriend,
You've been
but I
posting
had been
boys on
like
Instagram.
I was I was saying to somebody the other day, I was like, I've been in cahoots with people.
Same.
Cahoots or like, oh, I'm hanging out with them. I'm like, oh yeah, we've been hanging out.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and which is totally different. I think also if you had asked me this years ago, it's so much like there needs to be I would have been like, "Oh, there needs to be some sort of definition there of like, oh, are we dating or whatever?" And she's like, "No, you're just hanging out with people. That's all it
Yeah.
is."
But like, don't you need like a clear like definition for like where like at least like a direction, that you're driving the train in?
I mean, listen, and that's why some of these have now ended
Yeah.
because I'm just like, I'm not going to keep doing this dance with you, but it's okay for a bit. Just be like, oh, like, what are we doing? We're just hanging out, getting to know each other. And also, at some points, like, I would be hanging out with like a few of these boys, and we're all like out at High Tops in West
Yeah.
Hollywood or going wherever. And I'm like, wait, are we gonna like hook up and date? Or like, are we gonna hook up and date? Or are you two gonna hook up and date? Like, at this point, like, me and two of the boys would go out, and we would be like, what's going on here? Like, I think like he was trying to fuck the other boy,
Oh.
but then like I was trying to date the one boy, but also would want to date the other boy, and then the other boy also had gone on a date with my ex Ryan, and like then the other boy that I was also in cahoots with had just dated this other boy. We'll say his name's A, who used to go to CrossFit as well, who I dated last year. So we have now dated the same person, and that boy I still like hang out with. Now it's shifted into I think really just friends. But we had both dated the same person. And then that person I was also hanging out with a little bit again too and hooking up. So the web it just got so crazy.
Sounds like one big orgy.
Well, speaking of orgy, oh, that's what it was. Remember back in February, you had called me of something regardless, and I was like, Zach, I just left like basically an
Oh
orgy,
yeah.
and I was like, I'll tell you on the podcast.
So what happened? So, but you are, to answer the fucking question, you are single.
Oh yeah, I'm single.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, being a slutbag. Not
Okay,
really.
so what is this orgy that you experienced?
On a random Wednesday in February, I'm on
Uh-huh.
Grinder, and somebody was like, it was a couple, and he was like, come over. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay. It was like a rainy Wednesday, so I go there. There's more to the story too. Actually, this is like my dream house. I used to always go by it, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this house one day. So I would actually always go, and I would take like pictures of my car in front of the house, whatever. So then all of a sudden I pull up, I'm like, oh my god, this is the house. So I walk in, and I was like, guys, this is actually my dream house, and I'm showing them pictures, and they're like, you were literally taking pictures in our driveway. I was like, yeah. So it was already like creepy and weird to walk
Why
in.
would you do that,
Well,
Jeffrey?
because I had to like take pictures of the
You're
cars.
like your own worst cock block.
I had to take pictures of like my car. Well, no, I didn't care that. I already knew. I was like, I have the upper hand with these two looks wise. So
Okay.
I walk in, whatever, and then they're like, actually, and again, usually I'm more so just like one on one. So I was like, this is already wild. That it'll be like three of us. But then they're like, we want to invite this other guy to come over too. And I'm like, what? But then they're like, yeah, this like cute little ginger. My ears perked right up because we know I love a ginger. So I was like, yeah, invite him over. So then we're just like hanging out in the hot tub, having like some drinks. Again, it's at noon on a Wednesday in the rain. And then the ginger comes over, and then we're like just upstairs, whatever. Everyone's trying to like, I don't know. But then like the one guy was completely, I guess, like shy. So he like went downstairs, and then the other guy was there. And then, but then like I ended up just hooking up with the ginger, and both of them went downstairs. And then I was like, okay. And then I had to leave because I had to go podcast with Steven. And then I had the ginger come back over later that night. I
Wow. So
know.
you enjoyed it was like a Twinkie ginger, no?
Yeah, it was. It was a Twinkie ginger, and it's just so funny because I went to hook up with those two people, and then didn't even, and they were probably like, "What the fuck?" We basically just like hosted these two people to hook up at our house.
And you were in the dream. You got to have a dream hookup in your dream house.
Literally. Although when I was inside, I was like, "It needs to be gutted."
The
So
house, not the
yeah,
ginger.
uh, they it could use some work. So that was, and then also, guys, if you follow my dental journey, I had finally gotten this one crown, whatever. What's so crazy is when I was there, I look at his wall and I'm like, are you an endodontist? Because there was like a plaque. He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, also, then I'm like, I need help with this. He's probably, I literally just wanted to hook up. Meanwhile, I'm like hooking up this other guy and asking for dental help.
Mm.
So he referred me to this dentist for my crown, and I have a real bone to pick because I fucking hate it and it's causing me pain even right now. So I'd like to go back to that house and be like, you recommended me to a shithole. And that's the orgy story.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I had not that similar of a story, but the other day there was this guy that was visiting in town because it was his boyfriend's birthday or whatever, and he invited me over, so I went and met him at his hotel, and he was having drinks and whatever, and so we ended up going upstairs to his hotel room, and then he's like, "Hold on, I need to take a shower." And I was like, "This is kind of weird." So I kind of was just sitting in his hotel room while he like took a shower, which I was also kind
I've
of
done
like, "Well,
that, yeah.
that's weird," because like I would never do that, because like then I would think people would be like going through my stuff and trying to steal my wallet or something. Like you just never know.
Oh, I do that. I've done that many times. I'm like, yeah, do
Stolen
whatever.
people's wallets?
No, no. I've been like, do whatever you want. Like, I've got stuff to do. I'm gonna shower or whatever.
Okay, well that happened. Anyway, so then we start having sex and I'm fucking him in the hotel room. And the next thing you know it, his boyfriend walks in and I'm like, "Oh, does your boyfriend know that this is happening? Like what is happening?" Like I was not fully prepared for this. And then the boyfriend's just like, "Oh." And then he just gets naked and like joins in. But I think the boyfriend was more into me than he was into his own man, which then made things a little awkward, which sometimes happens in like orgies and like
Yes.
it happens. Like it's not always intentional, but it happens. There was this other guy, they're my neighbors. They live across the street from me. And they invited me over to I'd met them before, but they had invited me over one morning. They were just like, "We're really horny. Do you want to hook up?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I was hooking up, and then one of them was a tall, like beefy ginger man. He was a little too beefy for you, but he was ginger, and I always think of you when I see
Thank you.
gingers in
Yeah,
the
I do
wild.
take ownership over them.
Yeah. And so, but it was kind of the same thing where I was banging his husband, and then he got like weirded out. Like he just, I don't know. There's always one that's more into you than the
That's
other.
what's tough about a threesome. There's always going to be one, which is why I think, and one of our guests said this. Maybe it was even John Hill. Was like four is actually better because then it's evens the
Oh yeah,
playing
because then
field.
you can like switch off.
Which I guess I thought that would be great when he came over because four of us, but then the other two went downstairs. Anyways, it was like a wild. It also was noon too, and they were like, "Do you want GHB?" Which I've never even done in my life, and I was like, "No, like I have a podcast after." It was like it was. They were like doing ketamine. They're like, it was just
Wow.
like a wild day, and I was like, I'm gonna have like two or three tequila sodas and hang in this
Yeah.
hot tub, and then whatever happens, and then yeah, we were just like it. I was just like drawn. I don't know how it happened. I was like, oh, the ginger.
We love a good ginger. I've been fucked many good gingers, actually.
Once you go ginger, you never go back. I'm telling you. And I've been trying. Oh, there was this ginger visiting. He was on Grinder, and at first we were chatting, but then he like stopped responding. And I hate when people do that to me because I'm like, obviously, I'm just not into it. I was so desperate. I was like, "Hey, just trying once more because I'm super into it." Like, would say things like that, and I'm like, "Oh, but this." It literally said like, I think it said like gingerlicious. I forget what it said, but I was like, "No, no,
Gingerlicious
not that. No, no,
Jeffrey.
no, it didn't say that. It said something cute,
Okay.
like in reference to his gingerness." Um, yeah, and there's just a few others on Grindr that I keep trying to throw my hooks on. I mean, people text me when they see gingers, and they're like, "Oh my god, I saw one." I'm like, "Mark their location."
And
Put a
has anybody ever successfully hooked
hook me
you
up with
up
the
with a good
ginger.
ginger?
Um,
No.
Not really, no. But I'll be listen, I'm like,
But you
put
also have
a
like a
put a
very
net on them and
specific
wait for me to
type
get
that's
there.
so hard to figure out.
Not too buff, not too twinky, just like a nice, normal, kind of average, but like in shape,
Yeah.
handsome ginger with a beard.
So are you
Not like
dating
European.
right now?
I mean, like, again, I'm still like hanging out with people. Like, I'm not like,
I can't do that. You're too fucking old to just be hanging out with people now, Jeffrey.
but I'm
You
not
need to like
going
be
on.
consciously dating with the intention of like getting into a relationship.
What's so crazy is I would say, yes, since we last recorded in February, I have not gone on a date. I've
Really?
had like some grinder hookups. Like actually, two days ago, I hooked up. 2 nights ago, I hooked up with this Irish guy that he's like an occasional hookup for me. It's literally just that. Um, so I hooked up with him, and then yeah, I've just been like, because a lot of they all go to my CrossFit too, and it's kind of I like it
Yeah,
sometimes
you
like that
fuck
too.
everybody at your CrossFit.
Yeah, it's
That
like,
makes things complicated.
but I also like it because instead of it being so forced, like let's go on our date and do this. It's kind of like we're all getting to know each other. You become friends, and that's a great basis for us. And you're being flirty and whatever. Like it makes it fun. It's
No,
like
it's too like I need like a clear I need to know what the parameters and the boundaries are so I know how far I can push them and then I can like, at least find clear definitive lines of
okay, but
what.
here's the thing too, especially in that situation. Straight people in high school, I was thinking about this the other day.
Okay.
They got to like, they're always like flirting with different people. You're hanging out with all these
Fair.
different people in school every day. You're like, oh, maybe this one. And, as the 4 years progress, different people have dated different people and there's overlap and whatever. We did not have that as gay guys. So now I'm like, oh, this is what it is. CrossFit for me is very much my high school. I mean, I go there for hours and just gossip. It's, we have parties. Like it is my high school for sure. And so, yeah, now I'm like, it's a group of us gay guys and we all get to like, hang out, have fun. Sometimes we'll be there and then we'll go just have drinks. You're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. But there was definitely one that I was hanging out with more, but then he was kind of like, I don't want to date somebody at CrossFit because he was one that dated the one I also dated. And I'm like, well, I think it was that guy that was the common denominator of like why it got weird. I was like, and then I had said like, I'm not going to give you that energy because I give somebody I'm talking to a certain type of energy. And then so I was like, okay. But then that lasted like 2 days, and then we can continued hanging out. And then at one point, I was like out at Akbar with him and a friend, and I drove us, and he was like, or I said to him, I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna leave early. Like, are you okay with just Ubering home? And he was like, where are you going? And I was like, to go hang out with this other boy who actually I know he's the one that was like my ex Ryan's friend's ex. That's how we knew each other. So there's overlap there too. I was
It's
like,
very
oh, I'm going to hang
complicated.
out with him, and he was like, you're lying. And I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, let me see your phone. I'm like, you're not seeing my phone, but like kind of in a joking way because he's like, I know what you're doing, thinking like I'm making him jealous to
Yeah.
do it. Guess what? I was not going to hang out with him, but it was a possibility. It was on the table, but I
I
was just
don't
like,
like the jealousy thing.
but I was kind of like, no, it was more so making him make a decision of like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, and then he was just like, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And he was like, actually, I would mind. I would. He's like, so you need to stay here. So I'm like, oh, okay, really? And but again, still jokingly. And then he was like, come here, comes to next me, and he would like wrap his arm around me. And then later in the night, we end up just kind of like standing there and just like making out for like kind
Oh.
of, and then he was just like, and then later we'd kind of just like hooked up my car, or whatever, and we had a conversation. He was like, I get it. He's like, I get that I can't just like whatever the friend thing, and so that's what had happened. But then he still wasn't putting in the energy, and then like a month ago, I was just like, fine, I'm not going to give you this energy anymore. So now we don't really. Well, we did actually. We still like talk. Like I was gonna meet him last night, but I don't know. But like as friends, and we went to the Avril Lavigne concert together. Okay.
Oh, that's who you went to Avril Lavigne with. I was
Hmm.
wondering. Well, oh yeah, we discussed this because
Yeah.
yeah,
But we already had the concert tickets. I was like, of course I'm gonna go. And then we was just, yeah.
I don't like the jealousy thing at all. I was once on a date with this guy who first shows up to the date late and then tells me that he was late because he was on another date. And so
I don't like that.
I was like, okay. And then throughout the date, he's literally telling me, he's like, oh my God, those girls over there at the bar are checking me out. Oh my God, this person over there is checking me out. Like the people that were behind me. So I couldn't actually like verify if they were genuinely checking me out. But he's like, oh my God, all these people keep checking me out. And in my head, I'm like, you're not even that fucking hot where everybody here is going to be checking you out. Like, calm down. Whatever. And then the final straw, though, was as much as he was talking about everybody, checking him out and he was hot shit and he just came from his last date. Then he goes on his phone and he's looking at his phone and he's like, "Oh my God, I have so many Bumble matches." And I was like, in my head, I'm like, why are you
On
fucking
a
checking Bumble
date, that's
on a
so
date?
inappropriate.
And then he puts his phone down, face up on the table, right in the middle, so I can clearly see it. And it's the Bumble app that's open. And I was just like, what is your deal? Like you keep like referencing how much everybody else wants you. I go, and now you're putting Bumble down, and he's just like, "Why are you bothered that I like have Bumble open? Like I'm dating. I'm not like in a relationship with anyone or anything." I was like, "Yeah, but you're on a date with me,
Yeah, yeah.
and like you're supposed to be giving me your attention." And then I saw this slight little smirk come up on his face, and I was like, "Oh." You like this. You're getting turned on by the fact that you think I'm getting jealous when I'm just getting annoyed.
Annoyed.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? Fuck this. You're paying for the tab. I got up and I walked out.
Good. No, again, of course, if you are going on a first date, that and by no means doesn't mean that like he's not dating
Right.
or on dating apps, but you don't. That's so just rude. It's
Well,
rude.
okay. So on that same note though,
Oh God, what'd you do?
so there is this guy that I've been talking to lately. And it's been about 2 months. Okay? I don't know where it's going or we're just talking. We're not dating, but we've gone on some
So that's what I was just saying. You're hanging out, which is
yeah,
what I said too. Yeah.
we're going on dates hanging out.
Oh, we weren't going on dates. We were like
Yeah.
hanging out,
Like they were
oftentimes in groups.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, like there was like I had like some brand deal that I had to do like at the Forum for like a concert and so I like took him. It was like kind of nice because we got to sit in like this like private
What concert?
it was a comedy show. Netflix was doing their Netflix is a joke thing. And so there was
Oh.
like Tom Segura. David texted me and he's like, "Here's a list of shows at the Forum. Do you want to come to one of them?" And I got to pick one and then they did the whole box. But it was like a brand deal.
It certainly wasn't Avril Lavigne because that's where I was at the forum.
You should have had David book you the VIP box at the Forum, and you could have sat in the little box and watched Avril.
He could have done that.
He did it for me,
God damn it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
David. But so anyway, so we've gone on some cute dates, whatever. But so there was I actually think this was the night of the forum. He wanted to go out. And at first I was like, I don't think I want to go out. I have like a triathlon on Saturday. Like I can't drink too
You did a
much.
triathlon?
Yeah. Well, it was like an Orange Theory triathlon, like a
Oh,
smaller,
that one. I
like
know what you're talking
little
about. Yeah.
triathlon. It
Okay.
wasn't like
All
a
right. Yeah.
big triathlon.
Okay.
Thank you for stealing my thunder. Um,
I was like, what? I was like, he didn't do a triathlon.
but well, it was a
No,
it
I
was
remember the day, and it was like an intense thing.
yes.
Not
So,
to diminish any sort of physical
but it wasn't
capabilities.
like a real like
Athleticism.
yeah yeah. Anyway, but so he wanted to go to. There are only two gay bars in downtown, and there's one called Red Line, which is garbage, and then
Red
there's
line.
yeah, it's like not great. And then there's another one called Precinct, and that's really the only one people go to is
Yeah, I've heard of
Precinct.
that.
And so he's like, oh well, he's like, where do we go? He's like, he wanted to go to a gay bar, and I was like, oh well, the only real option is Precinct. I go, I've been there maybe once or twice, and he's like, okay, well let's go there, and I was like, okay, fine. So we end up going. And we walk in only to realize it's Jockstrap night.
You told me this. Okay.
And so everybody's in their jock straps, which was interesting. And I was like, oh, and it's funny because I remember I'd gone on a date like a couple months prior with another guy, and he was telling me about Jockstrap night at Precinct. And I was like, I didn't realize that like that was a thing. I don't go to gay bars off. I know you're always like at High Tops and sucking dick in the Abbey
No, no, no.
bathroom.
Somebody just said this to me the other day. I was like, please do not get this mistaken. Also, I lived here since 2010, minus a brief sabbatical in New York City or New Jersey for legal reasons. But I had never gone to like any of those places, only really in the past even like 2, 3 years. And I will pop in occasionally. And there was a time, especially in the last few months, because of like those boys I was hanging out with, we would like pop into High Tops for happy hour drinks right from CrossFit, literally in our gym clothes. We'd get like 2 tequila sodas. High Tops is very like, it's like a sports bar. We'd like sit on the
Yeah.
outside. It's not like I'm like in this gay club, jockstrap. Like it's not like that at all. Literally like
Yeah.
in workout clothes, grabbing a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I kind like that's more of my I know it's not what people would expect, but that's more of my vibe rather than a jockstrap bar. I mean, I rarely ever go to like a gay bar.
No, no, yeah. So I'm definitely not at like some gay club
I'm at like
like
a dinner and like have a cocktail and then go to bed.
yeah, or like yeah, a meal or just a chill bar. Like we would go to this
Yeah.
place called Schmitty's in West Hollywood and actually they like do karaoke.
You would actually like Jax's.
Jax's bar.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
Jax's. That's
Oh,
what it's
okay.
called.
Okay.
It's called Jax's Studio City. But you would like it because it's in Studio City, so it's in the valley, which is right up your valley. And two, it's very like sportsy, and they do karaoke on Mondays.
Yes, that's what I
It's
like.
not
Like a
pretentious. It's not like a Vanderpump bar or any of that.
also, and then real quick, I'll let you finish. It's like when you're going to those other type of bars, like those gay clubs, it's a certain type of people, and that's
Yeah.
just genuinely
Yeah.
not who I'm attracted to. Neither are you.
They're all popping pills and like twirling
Yeah.
on the dance floor,
Popping pills and popping
sucking
pussies.
D in the sucking D in the bathroom, and it's fine. But so we ended up going. Because he wanted a night out and he was like, I'm not working tomorrow. I want to have a night out. I was like, well, fuck, I'm working tomorrow, but all right, let's give this a go. So we end up going. It's jockstrap night. We go to grab a drink at the bar. And then I had already had a couple of drinks at the forum. And so I was trying to pace myself because I wasn't trying to get too fucked up. So then we're chilling off to the side on like the patio area. And this like really cute Hispanic dude comes up. And he's like even wearing like an LA Dodgers hat, like white t-shirt, like total, like, fit in the stereotype. But like he comes up to me and he's looking at me and he's just like, you look like you're innocent. And I was like, do I? And he's like, yeah, you just have a really
Do?
innocent look to you. He's like, you have a boyish charm. And I was like, okay. And then the guy that I was on a date with was standing right next to me. And I guess he sensed that I didn't realize that he was flirting with me, which I guess like that was kind of an obvious, like he approached me and was like,
Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes you can easily misinterpret somebody being friendly,
yes.
like you just don't
and
know
so
yet.
that's why I never assume that anybody's flirting with me. Okay. So this guy's coming up and he's like, I think you're real innocent. I was like, I'm not that innocent. But then I turned to the guy that I was on a date with and I was like, do you think that I'm innocent? I go, I think I have a little devilish charm to me. And then he's like, oh. And so he asked the guy I was on a date with, he's like, is he that innocent or does he have a little devilish charm? And then, he was just kind of like, oh, he's a little bit of both. He knows how to, I forgot what he said. But so anyway, somehow the guy like insinuates like maybe we'd make out or maybe someone of the conversation we're having, someone
I think
suggested we
you
make out.
said the other when you told me this privately that you suggested that
I
we go.
maybe had suggested something about
Sweating.
a makeout, and then he was just like, "Oh, well, why don't we all three of us make out? That way we don't leave out your boyfriend." And so we all kind of lean in together and do like a three-way
I
kiss,
don't.
which
There's
is
you
slutty.
can't, but you can't even like physically do that. I don't
No, I
like.
know.
There's no like you.
It was just like a cheeky little thing,
Okay,
whatever.
no, it's cute. It's
And so
cute.
whatever, we did a little three-way kiss, just like in a cheeky moment or whatever. And then I was like, "Did you like that?" And he was like, "I did." I go, "Would you go in for round 2?" And he's like, "Okay." And so then we make out again for the second time, just he and I this time though. And then um I keep trying to avoid saying this guy's name, but then I turned to the guy that I was on a date with because I thought that like it would turn him on. I thought like me kissing another guy in front of him would turn him on.
Right.
It didn't.
Didn't. No, I know. Yeah.
And so he was like, "Oh, I don't want to make your boyfriend jealous." And then the guy's like, "Oh, he's not my boyfriend. Like we've only." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, he's not my boyfriend. I just met him for the first time tonight." And then his face just is like he gets like so bothered by that. And then this other guy, I guess, read the room and he was like, "Oh, this is about to get awkward." But I wasn't picking up on the cues. I thought we were just having a good time.
No, and also you literally are just having a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he walks away. He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys be." And so he like walks off. And then the guy that I was with, I'm gonna give him a name.
I know. I thought about this with my story too. Uh, George.
Okay. I'm gonna call him Joe.
No, that's what I'm saying. George is your
Oh,
thing.
George is
Yeah.
my guy's name. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I turned to George and I was like, and he was just like, "Really? You just met me for the first time tonight?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You just told him that we met for the first time tonight and we've been talking for weeks." And I was like, I was joking with him. Like, clearly I'm here with you. Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna
Yeah.
leave with him. And so he's like, "No, I'm not cool with that." And then he walks away. And I'm like, I'm literally chasing George down the bar. I'm like, "Wait, what is going on? Like, why are you so bothered by this?" He's like, "You literally just kissed another guy right in front of me while being on a date with me." I was like, "I thought it would turn you on." It did not turn him on, like, at all. He was very upset about it. And then he was upset that I said that I just met him for the first time
It's a
that night. But
joke.
it was a joke. But so then, because it was Jockstrap night, he made me strip down to my underwear and dance with him like that. I wasn't gonna reveal that part on the podcast, but I figured, well, I might as
To
well commit
each
to the
their own. You
story.
will not see me doing
I
that,
would never
nor
do
in a
that, but I was
jockstrap.
drunk. I would never do that, but I was drunk, and then I felt guilty because I kissed another guy,
It's
and
weird.
he was like bothered by it.
It's weird because I feel like I would never do that, and especially at some place and being like, "Oh, put a jockstrap on." I could see myself though
I
at a
wasn't in
at
a
a house
jockstrap.
party if we were all drunk and somebody was like, "Get naked." I would do it.
I wasn't in a jockstrap. I was in my
Oh, yeah,
underwear.
you did. Yeah, underwear.
Yeah, I
I
was
don't
in my little
actually.
boxers.
If somebody was like, we were like drunk and fucking around, I don't know, somewhere, and I'd be like, "Oh, because I wear boxers." I'd be like, "Fine, I'll go to my boxers. I don't care."
I was because at first I thought he was He's like, "No, take off your clothes," and I was like, "I'm not taking off my clothes at the bar." He's like, "Everyone's here that's naked, so just take off your clothes." I was like, "No." He's like, "That's how you can make it up to me." I was like, "Are you being serious right now? Like, you want me to really get naked in this bar?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then I was like, I should never, like, the internet hates me enough. All I need is one fucking bitter twink to be at the same bar that night. And then it ends up on Twitter or fucking Reddit. And then I have to deal with, I was like, I'm never doing, and I told him afterwards, I was just like, we can never do that again. I was like, you literally made me strip in public. He's like, we weren't really in public. I was like, but you don't realize how much the internet hates me.
Yeah, they do.
They will find any reason to like find anything. I was like, I probably ended up on like somebody's Snapchat story that
No,
night.
and here's the thing too. You never know who's watching. Whether it's somebody that like follows
Yeah.
us. I like cannot speak because I drank so much fucking caffeine. I had this like relight boost that has a caffeine in it before I came, and now I'm having a latte and I feel insane, but in a good way,
Same.
bad way, but good way. I was also at Akbar one night. And then like a week later, somebody's like, "Oh hey, like I saw you at Akbar. This on Grinder, like blah blah blah." So I'm like, "Oh yes, you never know. Somebody's just watching and then sees me."
Yeah.
So there's that. But then I've also had people that follow me, yeah, be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I saw you at this bar, or I saw you there, or I saw you running down the street shirtless, or I saw you like." People always see
It's
me running.
weird.
It's a big thing,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm always like, "Well, like I gotta be a little conscious."
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. People like recognize me like all the time, especially like on dating apps, which has kind of gotten annoying. But or like the other day, some guy messaged me. He's like, "You look really familiar. Where do I know you from?" And I was like, I don't know." He's like, should I know you from somewhere?" And I was like, "I don't think so." I was like, "You probably know my twin brother. His name is Cody, and he's a real slut."
Also, I will say, and this is just like a PSA. because I don't it makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, people that follow me sometimes will find me on Grinder and they'll be like, "Oh my God, like Jeff," or "Oh my God, blah, blah, blah." And I feel really bad. I don't know why, but like I usually just don't respond because it feels like they're seeing a teacher outside of school.
It's awkward.
It's weird. And so I'm just like, unless you're like super hot or if you're a ginger, I mean, of course I'm responding. But I'm no, for the most part, like I just don't. I feel bad.
Have you ever hooked up with somebody that like was
Yeah,
like
one
a
time I walked in and I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Jeff." And he was like, "I know who you are." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You couldn't tell me this while we were chatting on Grinder." Or I've had people tell me after, or I've had people I've hooked up and then I saw after that they had followed me. So I'm like, "You knew this and you never said anything."
It's weird if
It's
they
weird.
don't say anything. I remember one time I was doing it was this big New Kids on the Block event and I was like moderating the panels. It was called BlockCon. And so I went and I did BlockCon and I was like it was in Chicago and I was like, "Oh, like none of the people like all the fans here are like 40-year-old, 50-year-old women. Like they're fans of New Kids on the Block, but it's their audience is primarily women, not a lot of
You're
men."
not a 50-year-old woman.
No, I know, but that's my demographic.
Yeah, yeah.
But so anyway, there was this guy that I ended up hooking up with, and he came over to my hotel, and we were hooking up, whatever. And then by the end of it, I was like, "Oh, what brought you into town?" He's like, "Oh, a convention." And I was like, "Oh, what convention?" And he was like, "Oh, this thing for this band." And I was like, "What band?" And he's like, "Oh, New Kids on the Block." And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "You were at the New Kids on the Block event?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was at the New Kids on the Block event." I was like, "Oh, wait, so then did you watch the panels?" And he's like, "Yeah, I watched the panels." And I was like, "Oh,
So you saw
so you
me.
saw me and you knew who I was? Like, why are you pretending like, oh, I just went to some random convention for a band? Like, why are we like not like acknowledging the fact that like
You know who I am.
yeah, it was
Which
just kind of
part of me is
awkward.
like, listen, I get there's a level of uncomfortability or I feel weird. Even like, so one of the boys in this cahoots, who's the one that I hung out with my ex, Ryan. I don't, yeah, for some reason he's like the only person's name that I keep saying. Maybe because I'm like, I know for sure he won't listen to this. Um, I remember I picked him up at the airport like January 1st or something, and he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, I went on this like awful date, blah, blah, blah." And then like a couple weeks later, this boy at CrossFit, who I've actually like, we used to talk years ago on dating apps. I'll get to the why this, and now at CrossFit, we're very flirty. And he was like, "I went on a date with your ex." I'm like, "What?" He was like, I was like, "Oh my God, you were the horrible date." I was like, "Oh my God, so funny." He was like, "What? What'd he say?" And then I just realized that they both just like completely miscommunicated with each other because they're both very sweet, but it's just so funny because I was like, "He thought you were the worst date ever," and blah, blah, blah. And like,
How do you
whatever.
tell somebody that?
I know, and then I was like, "Oh, you were that terrible date." He's like, "Why?" And somebody's like, "Why would you tell him that?" I'm like, "This is
Yeah.
funny." But it's so funny because we're very flirty as well. But it's weird we're so flirty, and people are always like, "Why don't you guys date?" And we'll like to look at each other, and we'll like talk to each other about dating stuff, but then also be so flirty. It doesn't make any sense. But the point was, so like we had talked on Grinder years ago,
Okay.
and Hinge and whatever, like very much so. And I remember then I had followed him on Instagram. I would like comment on his stuff, but he would like never respond. But I was like, "This boy is so cute." Then just like gave up, and I think I even unfollowed him. And then he came, started going to Brick last year, my CrossFit. That's like a year and a half ago. And as soon as he walked in, I was like, "Oh my God." And even my friend was like, "Look who's here," because he knew that whatever. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then he walked in, and I was like, it was for this CrossFit Open, so you need a judge. And I was like, "Oh, I'll be your judge." And I was like, "What's your name?" I was like, he's like, and I was like, "Oh, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you." But again, so I said like, "What's your name?" So I obviously knew this
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. And then we did the whole thing. And then we both kind of just didn't address it until like maybe 6 months ago. And we were like, "Oh yeah," when we used to talk on Grindr, I was like, "You ignored me," and blah, blah, blah. And like we used to like we just fully like ignored the fact that we had all these conversations on like dating apps and Grindr, whatever, like a few years ago, and
Yeah.
acted like we didn't. But then we like acknowledged it.
You know what's interesting? There are guys like that I've like hit on or tried to flirt with like in recent years that have now like responded to me differently and now like I get to hook up with them now and I'll like do it and then like ghost them because I'm just like fuck you. If I wasn't good enough for you then, fuck off.
I
I
always say better bot when people are like, "Oh, why are you motivated to work out?" A, because I'm super vain. B, because
same.
I'm at the worst anxiety ever. And if I don't, I'm gonna lose my mind. But C, better body, better dick.
Mhm.
The quality of guys I mean, I'm telling you, even right now, I'm feeling like I am pulling people in, like
Yeah.
just. But also, we've been working our fucking asses off.
Yes. Every day.
Literally. Also, I want to tell you this because I feel like, did you get the 100 push-up challenge from me? Because I
Yeah,
posted it.
I got it from you.
Stop doing it. I stopped because it started wrecking my elbows.
I was starting to feel it. Well, I cut back to 50.
Okay,
And
good.
then I
Yeah.
was like, and then now instead of doing 100 a day, since I go to the gym, I do Orange Theory every morning, I'll just do 10
One
push
set.
ups in between like our floor sets. So it's really only like 30, 40, 60. Like it just depends on whatever the rep is. Because then I started reading about the 100 push-ups a day challenge and how it's also not good because then your body doesn't get a chance to recover.
Rest. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're never supposed to like work the same muscle group every day. But it's funny because I used to do that too. Like I used to go on runs and oftentimes at a stoplight, I'd be like, "Oh, I'll drop and do some push-ups, whatever." So that's a good way to do it. But I was doing the 100 a day,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Fuck, I have to tell Zach because yeah, after 2 weeks, literally." And I was getting body work last night because my elbows are so pinched. So I'm
Yeah.
doing it a couple times a week now, but like it's wrecking them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I was like, "Fuck, I
toning
should
it
tell
down.
him."
Yeah, yeah. But I did get it from you. Um,
See that inspiring people.
There we go. His Instagram actually inspires people. Now, wait, there was a situation because we were just talking about people recognizing us. There was a situation, and I need to know how you would respond in this because I literally had a full Stassi Schroeder dark passenger spiral.
What's dark
Okay.
passenger?
Where you just go crazy. Like
Oh, okay,
you
okay.
are like, you flip out about a situation that maybe you
All the
overreact
time.
to a little bit.
All the
Okay.
time.
So I'm trying to refrain from certain details, but you know who this person is. We'll name him Randy. Okay. We're going to call him Randy.
But are
And
we talking about you
you know who this is.
like
You know who this is. Like there's only one person that
okay,
you
okay,
would
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay.
So,
I was like, why are we here?
so
Yeah,
it was a weird complicated situationship is
it
what
sure was.
is how we'll frame it, right? It was never an official anything, but it was a situationship. There were certain conversations that were had, whatever, right? So there comes this opportunity where there's an event where there are people that, watch me online, support me online, whatever. One of those people decides they're going to hit on Randy, okay? Unbeknownst to me. And there was even other people that were like egging this person on to hit on Randy. And this person is flirty with me on like when I go on live streams, I recognize certain handles and people that are regulars, whatever. So this person hits on Randy, unbeknownst to me, and it's not until a week or two, maybe a couple weeks later. I don't remember the exact timing, but I just remember one of those like really loyal, supportive like members of my community had reached out to me and like made
The
some
gay
reference.
community.
No,
No, I'm just kidding.
had referenced, oh yeah, so and so, we'll name him, Bob. Oh yeah, did you something? He referenced something about how Bob went out with Randy, and like Randy and I still talk regularly.
Yes,
All
yes.
like
You're like, hey, I don't
have
want to know
yeah,
this.
yeah.
That makes me.
So hold on. So I find out from this person that Bob, this supporter of mine, had asked out Randy, and then I'm now finding out from this third party that Randy had gone out on a date with Bob, and I was like, that's weird. And I was like, how did they like what? And then I find out the event that they connected at, and I was like, that's strange. So then I text Randy. I was like, did you go out with Bob? And then he's like, oh yeah, it was dinner. And I was like,
When I tell you I'm spiraling for you, I would have lost. I'm
I
very.
was like,
Yeah.
hold on. Also, mind you, this is happening. I'm getting these text messages and having this correspondence while I'm live on the internet. So I'm trying to like stick to my talking points. And meanwhile, I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like in my head spiraling. And I'm like, you went to dinner and I have to find this out from somebody else that you went out with like a supporter of mine that like you met at an event of mine and like you didn't tell me. Like, mind you, you know the history. I was
Spiral.
like,
I would literally just be like, you know what you feel like at that point? You're like,
I was spiraling. And so I'm like, okay, guys, I have to go. I'll talk to you later. Boop, end the live. And then I called Andy. And so I called Andy and I'm like, Andy, I'm fucking spiraling right now. And he's like, why? What's going on? I was like, what's going on? You won't believe what's going on. Can you believe that Randy went on a date with some dude that follows me online and blah, blah, blah. And I'm literally like yelling in my apartment, right? Because I'm like freaking the fuck out because I'm like, how did nobody tell? Like, how did I have to find out like this? And mind you, Randy and I had just went to dinner the night before. We had just gone to dinner the night before. Okay? And he had gone on this date with this other guy a night or two before we had just went to dinner. So like there was opportunities for him to disclose to me, hey, by the way, I went out for whatever.
but also, I wouldn't want him to say it. I don't wanna know. I'm literally like, I just
I would
don't wanna
absolute
know.
well, I would 1, I wouldn't want you to do it, and 2, I would absolutely want you to disclose that for this exact reason so that I don't find out from some other fucking person.
Agree, but it's better. I would rather not know in the beginning and, like, just have no chance. Even when Ryan was saying he's like, "Oh, I went on this horrible date," I wanted to be like, "Don't fucking tell me you're on a date. Of course I know you are. I don't wanna know. I cannot think about it. I don't have the, I'm not equipped for that."
I would rather just know and rip the Band-Aid off because it hurts with every time you rip it off again and again, it hurts a
I
little
disagree,
less.
but regardless, yeah, I'm like, "I don't wanna know."
So then Randy decides to call me because I didn't respond to his text message. And he's
Mm.
just like, and so I answered the phone. I was like, hello. And he's just like, hey, what are you doing? And I was just like, why are you calling me right now? And he's just like, what the fuck? Why are you mad at me? And I was like, because you went on a date with somebody and didn't fucking tell me. And I found out from somebody else. I go, this is fucking weird. And it looks like it's fucking, I've just been so like burned by so many people in my life that I'm like, it's just a fucking weird situation. And I don't like when people are shady and they don't tell me the truth and they don't are not honest with me. And he's like, the reason I didn't tell you, because eventually after we stopped yelling at each other, he's like, the reason I didn't tell you is because it wasn't a date. And I was like, what do you mean it wasn't a date? He was like, in my head, we were just going out and having a meal together. He was like, in my head, it wasn't a date. And by the end of it, I had realized that maybe I'd given off the wrong impression that it was a date. He was like, but I
I
just
could see
left it
him
at
doing this,
that.
by the way.
I can see him doing that as
Yes.
well because that's just who
He
he
is, yeah,
is.
he's very nice, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, one, you need to be clear with communication with people so that way situations aren't misread. And two, you need to tell me these things regardless because, like, I don't want to be blindsided by information, especially when I'm live on the fucking internet.
Yeah, but I could see him because he's very nice not doing that. I could also see my ex Ryan doing the same thing where it's like he's just being nice, but it's still like, I'm like, people
Would you
aren't.
be bothered if Ryan went out with somebody that was like a big Patreon member of yours?
Yeah, I'd be bothered by it all. I don't want to know about any of it. Actually, right, we had not spoken for like months. This is actually I had not seen him since before we last taped the last season, like, and
Yeah.
then stopped speaking just because it was like, okay, it's time. We broke it up. It will be 2 years in September, and so at this point we were a year and a half post breakup. We were still like hanging out and talking and hooking up, and I think we both kind of just like naturally like this probably should have to stop. So we just naturally did. And then about a month ago, and I'll explain why before that because it involves another ex. I was having a very difficult month, and a very difficult week, and a very, very difficult like 24 hours. And so I was like, hey, I was like, I know, we don't kind of just, decided to stop talking. I was like, I need you to come over, like
Yeah.
right now. And so he came over and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay the night. It was a tougher situation. Just being nice, just being like, hey, I need you to just like lay next to me and sleep next to me for the night. Not like in a sexual, just like you just be here for a second.
Yeah.
But going back to like, yeah, it's bad. This is why I think we both naturally were like, we'll stop talking. I think also because he had seen too, probably at that point that like I was hanging out with boys, like he had seen things like that. One of them was the guy that he went on the date with. So the last thing I realized we stopped talking, and he had muted me too. And this is not at his It's just simply like, oh, it's probably a good idea that I don't see this. I had posted a picture with two of the boys that I've been in cahoots with. One of them that he had been on a date with. The other one was wearing his sweatshirt that I had because we were out, and I was like, oh, I have a sweatshirt you can wear. So he probably saw that and was like, what the fuck.
Yeah.
And that night we also saw the other boy, his friend's ex, and it was such a fight. I was like, what the fuck's happening? I was like, three people here that. Anyways, so he comes over that night because I'm struggling, and there's little things like this where it's again you like I just don't want to know, and then if you decide to still communicate whatever, there's the chance that that might happen whatever.
Yeah.
So first he's like going to get ready for bed, and we always like sleep in our boxers together whatever, and he was like, do you have any shorts I could put on? He's never done that, and so immediately I'm like, oh my fucking god, I'm like, oh my god, he's dating somebody, this is why blah blah. And again, I don't know, and I still know nothing, and I still don't really want to think about it because I'll spiral. But then I'm like thinking about this. Then he's like, "Oh, do you want to see pictures of my niece?" Because I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I haven't seen." I was like, "I actually muted your sister-in-law as well." He was like,
Oh.
"No, no, no, no." Just because I was like, "We just don't want to." We've had talked about this many times prior, where we're like, "Oh, it's probably just a good idea." So just we don't see, but like, there's
Yeah.
no. Again, we love each other to death. But I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I muted her too," and he stares straight ahead, and he was just like, "That's probably a good idea." And it was just like the way he said it and the way I'm staring ahead, and I'm thinking, is he saying that because he's like posting? Is he now dating somebody, and are they like all out together? Blah blah. I'm like, great. I'm like, I had you come over because I'm fucking losing it. I'm like, now I'm fucking losing it.
Oh my god.
Um, and so to my point, it's sometimes better just to like out of sight, out of mind. You don't want to know. And then the even said, I was like, you're right. That's why we don't. You know what I mean? And I just don't want to know. And also,
I
it's different
have
with
to
different people though,
know.
because sometimes it's like with him that has to be the situation. But ironically, the day prior, and this sounds wild, I was with my first ex, Eric,
Yeah.
and it's so different because like we'll be together and we just talk about like I'll tell him about people that I'm dating. I'm like, oh yeah, this whole situation I'm telling you about like all
Yeah.
those boys. But then
It's
it's weird
different.
too because then we still like that slept over there and we like of course hooked up and we'll still like walk around, hold my hand and we'll because he's like my first person.
You get yourself into so many complicated situations, Jeffrey.
It's so weird because that first ex Eric, I was 20, he was 30. This is 2012, and then I'm sure some people that don't listen know what I'm talking about. And then I ended up working for his sister in New York City. It was this whole thing, whatever. And then we didn't talk for 3 years because that ended very badly. There was like lawsuits. It was a mess. So then we finally ended up talking again a couple years ago, and then we now like would we'll just go through these little phases where like we like won't talk for a year and then all of a sudden I'll like pop over and then we'll have like 24 hours together or whatever it is. And so yeah, it happened to be one of those situations. I hadn't seen him in like a year and a half. um, and I go over at like 3 p.m. and I ended up being there till noon the next day. But yeah, I'll go over and it's just so something about us. It's so comforting and it's just yeah hooking up. Then we like walk to get food. So then it's like holding our hands. And then always lots of like kissing, like
Mm.
just around grabbing each other, whatever. Like, but I'll still talk about like I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm so devastated. Like I broke up with this person I broke up. Like it's such a weird dynamic.
A weird dynamic? No, it's a toxic dynamic.
No, but again, we don't see each other often. And then I was like, okay, and then I probably won't see him for another year. But then, yeah, the next day after that, I went home and it just because of some other things that had happened. Then, ironically, I was like, Ryan, come over.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, I was like, and I saw Eric yesterday. And she's like, what? And then it is weird. It's weird.
So what is your status with Ryan currently?
We don't talk.
Okay, except for that one night where he came over.
Yes, which is truly just like, and I think
A support, yeah, a
yeah,
support system, yeah.
a friend of mine had also said like you should come over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was very anxious about some stuff.
Wow. It's been an interesting 4 months for us, hasn't it?
Really has. So no, so now it's like, listen, we're just exploring things. We're chatting with people. And then because it's my birthday, then that one guy was like, what are you doing for your birthday this week? And I'm like,
Getting
I'm trying to.
fucked.
No, I'm like, I wanted to make this shift into like, I thought we were making the shift and just being friends because you didn't seem. Because after that moment at Akbar where he was like, and I thought we were making the shift of like being like dating or just going down the romantic route.
Yeah.
Then he still wasn't putting the energy. So then I was like, I'll make the shift to be friends, which he thought I was mad at him. Something we went to this party like a month ago, and then I kind of just like stopped texting him. He was like, I'm not sure if you're mad at me, but I don't have the emotional bandwidth to be in a fight right now. And I'm thinking like, you're so dumb. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to be in this cahoots right now, which is why I'm just like leaving it be. And then now, I don't know. And then that other boy, he's on vacation right now, but when he comes back, I don't know. And then I was circling back with the other, yeah.
Oh
And
my
there's even more
goodness.
mixed in with that. There's like the one CrossFit web, there ended up being like 6 people in that web. There was like making it out with certain people and certain ex-boyfriends all at Akbar too. There's one day I'll come in here and I'll have a whiteboard and I'm going to draw a diagram and it's so unbelievable. Oh, and real
Oh,
quick,
there's
when I was with
more.
my first ex, Eric, what that a month ago, when I ended up leaving, so then it's like noon the next day and I'm like, do you want to go to IHOP? He's like, yeah. So we're walking out. Mind you, he lives in this like condo above the Americana. It's actually very nice. So we're like walking to the Americana. I don't even know how this got brought up. I had always known before me he dated this guy Billy. Ooh, whatever. This is back in like whatever. Who cares? Back in like 2007, right? So this is like because
I
again we
love
started
how
dating.
I'm coming up with code names for all of
I
my
don't
guys,
give it.
and
You
you're
know
just
what?
outing everybody.
And also, if you date me, you know exactly what you're getting. You know I'm going to talk about this
Okay,
stuff.
same. Thank you. I feel like people should know that
You
when they
know
come into
this.
my life.
You know that we have this called disaster daters. Like you know this, and I feel like even a lot of them, like the one A who now he moved, he was like, am I on disaster daters? He's like, because I would be insulted if I wasn't. I was like, we mentioned you, and the other one's like, you talk about me. I was like, you wish I talked about you.
Hmm.
But so yeah, I'm with Eric, and then we're going to leave, and somehow I don't know how it even got brought up, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, that's so crazy. I was like, I realized that I hooked up with him like a couple years ago, his first ex Billy. Again, that was even before me, which was 2012. Who would have ever thought? All of a sudden, he starts spiraling, losing it. He was like, why? He starts storming across. I'm yelling across the Americana. I'm like, Eric, what the fuck? What are you doing? Blah blah blah. He ended up like I couldn't even
Oh
find him.
yeah.
And then I texted him. I was like, this is crazy. And he was like, just go. He's like, you have no idea how hurtful that was. And I'm like, what? It was more so like, whoa, what a crazy coincidence in this gay community. Like, oh, I realized I happened to hook up with him. So wild. I was like, you dated him like 20 years ago. This is wild. It was just wild.
It's complicated.
Anywho, so that's where we're currently at.
Okay. Well, I did bring you some gifts.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
I
yes.
brought you some gifts because I figured it was a new season of Disaster Daters and we were going to need to upgrade your disaster dating life.
Even though obviously they could tell it's pretty disastrous.
Okay, so first up, I brought you the Vibe Together rabbit.
Vibes you get with me, see?
Do you know what a rabbit is?
I once had a pet rabbit when I was younger, but it died. It got a heart attack when I took it on a walk. Yowza. Okay. Okay. Hit all the right spots. The rabbit. Now, can I use this on somebody?
Yes, you can use it on somebody, you can use it on yourself, but it is the rabbit from Promescent.
From
And
Promescent, Vibe Together by the
I
rabbit.
think
Or the,
you can like somebody with the Bluetooth can control the vibrations on that one. So like if you want to be like, "Oh, you're out of town or I'm out of town, stick the rabbit in you and I can like measure, the vibrations that, I can control it from afar."
dual motored, like an electric vehicle. A lot of them are dual motor cars. Oh, so that technology is top tier. Dual motor. That's what Elon Musk is doing. Dual motor.
There we go. But his cars are electric.
Yeah, they're dual motor electrics. They're
What does
electric
that mean?
motors.
Oh,
So yeah, so this is dual electric motors.
yeah. So you can vibe together with the rabbit.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now, is
And
this
if
made for boys or girls specifically, or both?
it's primarily made for women, but it can be used by both.
Okay, we like
And
this.
then you have this one, which is it's a penis ring. It's also a vibe
A
together.
cock ring.
But this one, well, it says penis ring right here. Penis ring vibrator.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Rigidity for him. Irresistible pleasure for your partner.
I've actually
Have you ever used one of these?
no, but obviously,
vibrating-
like people I've hooked up with have, and then I was like, "What does this
They're
do?" And I
actually
was
a
like,
lot of
I
fun.
know, I know. I was like, actually, I would want to try this.
They actually are a lot of fun.
Yeah, because somebody I hooked up with recently was, and I was like, huh, huh.
Okay, so you got lots of new toys that you get to explore with.
Thank you, Promescent.
Also got you some supplements. I've been taking these and these help at the gym. So this is
ooh.
VitaFlex ready, feel charged. That way you're feeling I actually like the VitaFlex. I like this one though. It's it's Mojito Mint and it's a powder, but it like boosts energy, promotes
Wait, let
circulation,
me see these
supports
actually.
sexual health. So I've been taking this and I feel like my performance at the gym has been so much better since I started taking these. And then there are also these testosterone capsules. So this is what I take every day.
Wait, let me see like one or two at the time. Hold on. You know what's funny? Okay, so this one here.
That
I
one's my
actually,
favorite.
I swear to God, I was gonna ask. Okay, this is wild. So I've been taking this supplement called L-citrulline, and I actually
Mhm.
had gotten it. But one time I ordered creatine on Amazon. They sent me L-citrulline, and I was like, oh, what is this? And then I saw that it was for like increasing blood flow. Which
Yeah.
actually, a lot of people say like I've been getting much more vascular. I don't know if you can see, you can't see it on camera, but I have. Like I'm very vascular now. But also because I've cut body fat. But I'm like, oh, and then also that goes to show as far as like in the bedroom, think about your blood flow, everything like that. And it's so funny. And I also saw things about like men in their 30s and like,
Yeah.
yeah, taking L-citrulline, whatever.
I haven't been having as much sex, but I will say my performance at the gym,
Yeah.
top tier. Like I'm running
Same.
faster, I'm lifting heavier. Like I just feel like my performance is a lot
Well,
better.
so I now put like a lot of times, even before I came here, I put it in my water. I mix it in. I usually take L-citrulline like 2 to 3 times a day. Either mix in water with protein, whatever. And I was almost out. That's actually really bizarre. And I was like, oh my God, I need it again. And then when you just took out this supplement, I was like, I wonder if it's L-citrulline. And on here it says L-arginine, L-citrulline, L-carnitine tartrate. I don't know the other two. That's exciting because it's this triple power formula. But all I know is truly L-citrulline. I'm gonna try this. I'm sure this is great. VitaFlux, but that specific chemical or whatever it is, life changing. Also, blood flow, just as far as like, yeah, blood going through your body, like with muscle
Mhm.
recovery, game changer.
Enhances blood flow and performance. And then these are the capsules of VitaFlex, and this is some testosterone if you want to feel a little
Yeah,
more
this is
manly.
powder. Oh my God, wait, I'm so fucking. Oh my God, and it has zinc too. Zinc. I always try to take zinc because I get sick all the time.
Oh yeah, you need zinc. Zinc's good for your
Yeah.
immune system. Okay, there's also the buzzing gel. So when you're in bed, you put a little buzzing gel down there, and then it like gets.
Wait, I
things a
didn't
little
see these
buzzy.
other ones. Hold on.
Oh, it's just testosterone and then the VitaFlex capsules.
Oh, so it's the same one that I just had, but
It's,
in
yeah,
capsule
it's similar.
form.
They're just in capsule form.
I love the powder because it hits you quicker.
I like the powder too, and it actually tastes really good. I
I
asked
just
them
don't
to send me
taste
more.
it. I just usually don't taste it.
No, it's really good. It actually tastes good.
Mental testosterone. Oh, ashwagandha. Have you ever taken testosterone?
This is the first time I'm taking
I feel like
testosterone.
I should also be again testosterone building
Well, yeah,
muscles.
I hear it helps you build muscle faster. And then it also helps with like, growing facial
Okay,
hair.
promescent.
See?
Fuck yes. Wait, they have all this?
Yeah, here's some
Mental,
bud.
physical, mental and
Well,
physical energy, muscle mass and strength. Hello, male performance libido. Yeah, I think that's what
well,
people don't realize too. Like these will help you in all areas of your
like
life.
mental performance and then also your physical performance, but like working out and also like in bed.
Yeah.
Um, that's the buzzing gel, so it like gets you. It's arousal gel, and then but this is what Promescent is mainly known for, more than the supplements. Most people don't know they have all of these supplements, but they're mostly known. Ladies, if you're listening to this, or even the gents, this is the last longer spray, so it kind of like temporarily semi numbs your dick. That way you can last a little longer.
Interesting. Wait, I want to circle back on this real quick too. I think it's funny because a lot of people are like, I didn't realize how common this was, but guys in their 30s in West Hollywood, a lot of them take like whether it's Cialis or Viagra and all these
Oh
type
yeah,
of
yeah,
things. Like all, it's very common, and people are getting them from like websites now, like all
yeah.
those things, whether it's like hair growth. And I'm thinking like, they're like taking all these pills, but the root of it, blood flow, things like that, testosterone. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, take things like this, so it naturally is just kind of versus like
Enhances, yeah.
taking whatever a pill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
agree.
super down with this. Ah, I'm so excited. Okay.
Here, and you're gonna like the last longer because it makes you last longer in bed.
Who says I don't last long?
I feel like I'm pretty like
No, it all
controlled.
depends. Sometimes I'm
I
like,
can
fuck, I came super quick, and sometimes like, oh, yeah.
I don't usually I can usually control, like if I need to come quicker, I can
Yeah.
come quicker, and if I need to last longer, I can last longer.
I feel like sometimes it depends on the situation. Sometimes, especially if it's a certain guy or whatever, and you're both are like, fuck, we just came super quick, and then sometimes you're like, okay, and then other times I'm like, let's come on.
Wrap things up, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
there. I'm like, can we hurry
Contains
this up,
this,
please?
and then Promescent lasts longer endurance spray.
Yeah, you spray it on, and then I think you wait like 20 minutes, and then you go into the boom boom in the bedroom, and then you can last a little longer. That way, you're not like a 2-minute man or a 2-second man.
Interesting. Thank you, Promescent. I'm truly very excited about those supplements. The whole L
No,
citrulline thing
I
is
was telling you,
wild.
I was also wildly excited
Shit.
about the supplements.
Yeah, you want blood flow truly everywhere. You want blood flowing.
I know. Do you monitor your heart rate when you work out?
No, I don't have an Apple Watch.
Oh, I have one at Orange Theory. They give us one of those like monitors. That way we can
Oh.
track our heart rate. And my heart rate, like naturally, they say like the more fit you get, the like less your heart rate
Yeah.
like gets up. So like getting into like the orange and the red zones, which is where you really want to go if you want to like burn fat or whatnot, or get your splat points, which is what they call them at Orange
Splat
Theory.
points?
Splat points. They say you need to get like you get one splat point for every 1 minute your heart is in like the orange zone.
Okay.
So it like I don't know, it's supposed to help with, keep burning calories and stuff after that. Anyway, the more fit you become, the harder it is to get into those
Yes, because your
higher heart
body's
rate
used
zones.
to doing it.
Yeah. And so now it's a bitch for me to get my splat points, but I think it's because like the supplements do help with like circulation and
You
stuff.
know, I'm looking at. I'm like, I am looking fit here. Like you can see my chest, but also I'm like,
You can
am I
see the
sweating
titties.
here? There's like a spot. I'm like, I
No.
think it's because I'm sweating, but
No, it's a
I am.
shadow from the microphone.
Oh, or it's because yeah, just the microphone.
It's
Sorry,
literally a
but I
shadow
am.
from
I'm
the
looking
microphone.
more fit, and everything's just like.
The titties are popping, Jeff.
Thank you. No, because the push. That's why I was doing the fucking push-ups. I was like, these
They
are such
do
a great
help.
idea. You do it. Okay, don't do it 100 a day because whatever. It's the chest, and then all this
Yeah.
just started feeling tighter. My back. Somebody actually. I wasn't even. Oh no, I was. Yeah, I wasn't hooking up with somebody, but I had my shirt off, and somebody was like, "Damn, Jeff, you're back." And
Yeah.
there's something so attractive about a guy
Yeah.
with like a really cut up back. Push-ups. So you're activating all this. I'm telling you guys, better body, better dick or vagina, whatever it is. Better body, better hookups. The level goes way up. There are certain people when I'm like just feeling out of shape, like a certain caliber of person that I'm like, I can't hook up with them right now because I'm just not my best.
Really?
Yeah, and then I'm like, all right, I've got the lower tier to dip into.
Yeah, you set it
Yeah,
up
I've
by
got
tiers.
tiers. But yeah, when I'm feeling great, oof, that top tier, I'm almost like, how am I even getting these people?
Yeah, I also feel like I'm not as eager to like hook up with people, whereas before I was like, oh, this is like a good mid-tier person. I should just like if just like muster up and like do it for, whatever, because they're like a good mid-tier person and it'll be a good ego boost. And now I'm just like, I don't really need to hook up with you. I can do better.
Literally, I can do better, and I have all these things where I'm like, or I can hook up with an ex because you know how I love that.
You do love hooking up with exes. At
Yes.
some point, you need to cut them loose.
Well,
Though.
obviously, again, some you can, some you can't. Like again, Ryan, whatever. But then there's my other ex, the one that like John Hill knew, and I now follow him on Instagram and like him and his boyfriend. No, and it's totally fine because it's like, oh, that was fine. There's certain ones where you're like, okay, there's two of them, Bo and Ryan, that I can never like. I don't want to see. I can't see it.
Did you and John Hill ever hook up?
No, it's in the.
Because he was very clearly hitting on you. Okay, the last episode that we taped, John Hill and I did not hit it off. I'll just say that. And he was very into you, and he like was like having just full on conversations with just you. I don't know how much people were able to pick up on it in the edited version that was released, because there was like a whole unedited version, which I think you ended up releasing on Patreon,
I did,
but
I
not
did.
the video. Yeah, he was very clearly just like strongly interested in Jeff, and was like, I showed up just so that I could possibly hook up with Jeff after this, and Jeff wasn't picking up on the cues.
I was not at the time. And then once I realized, I was like, okay. And then I still was like, well, maybe. And then you're like, no, definitely. And then since then, I did do his radio show,
Yeah.
but I do
Guess
see
who
him.
wasn't invited to do that? Me.
I was, and I do see him. He pops into Brick like once a month on a Saturday. So I'm there, but no, we've been. Um, I'm sure we will hook up as all. Yeah, I'm sure we'll.
There are a few
Yeah,
of those.
there's a few of those that like Listen, I also at an era too where I'm like. And also, he's like, "Well, why haven't?" I'm like, "Well, because I've been in cahoots with people and blah blah blah." And like, it's just different. But I have so many people like that, and I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm a tease. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm being a tease with a lot of these
Yeah.
people. I am, but there's another
You
one as
are.
well. And I feel bad because I feel like I'm teasing. I'm like, it will just. I'm also, but then I don't know. Yeah, yeah, definitely the flirty thing.
You're definitely being a tease. Andy's like that too. Andy is such a tease.
I didn't realize it until the past couple months, and I was like, oh, I'm such a
That
tease.
you are, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
feel
feel
bad.
like I'm not a tease. But I also am like not like trying to flirt with people. Like every time we've had a guest that's come on, I've always like been a little cunty.
Yeah, you're cunty, and I'm like sweet and flirty.
You're like very sweet and very flirty, and then they think that you're hitting on them. And I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I was like, last season, everybody kept saying that I'm like so jaded. Like maybe, I was like, maybe I need to like actually take that inventory, like take inventory of that and be like, maybe I am a little jaded. Maybe I can be a little bit softer.
Darren and John both said the exact same word to you, jaded, which is ironic because right now I cannot stop listening to Miley Cyrus, Jaded.
I just saw her on David Letterman.
Oh.
She's on the Netflix. My next guest needs no introduction. It
Oh.
just it's actually really good. I watched it this morning at like 5 a.m.
And then it's funny if you listen, I'm sorry, jaded. And
Well,
then I'm like,
she has a new one that you're gonna like called Psycho Killer
a song or an album?
song.
Is it out yet?
She sings the acoustic version in the interview, but it just came out as like her new single. But like that's the full rock version. But the acoustic version she sings is really good. You have to watch it on Netflix.
I will. Let's not promote Netflix here.
Oh yeah, well it's not the same thing.
You're right.
They're very different.
No, I guess we're promoting. Thank you, Spotify.
Thank you, Spotify, for letting us tape
Thank
at
you,
your studio.
Promescent.
They actually like gave us like David's not here today, Danny's not here today. They're just like, you guys have free reign. We have no babysitter today.
No babysitter, which I'm like, that's unhinged.
Scary.
Also, in this, deluxe suite, I was escorted into here, and I was like, and then we were talking with our engineer about murder.
Yeah, he was escorted in here. Okay, I text him and I'm like, I'm literally 2 minutes away. I'm down the street. I'll see you in a sec. And he's like, okay, I'm sitting in the front lobby. And I was like, and he sends a picture. And I was like, okay, great. He's sitting in the front lobby. So I walk in and I check in with security. And then I turn to the left to look at the lobby. And who's not there? Jeffrey. And I'm like, and I'm texting him like, where are you? Where did you go? And then I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And then finally he comes back with our new handler for the day, our new babysitter for the day, Travis, who's very lovely.
Lovely.
Love Travis. Danny, you're fired. But so Travis comes in with Jeff, and I'm like, where did you go? And he's like, oh, he went and gave me a tour of the studio, and he was showing me around. And I was just like, I literally, like, what would make you think, let me leave the lobby when Zach's
He
just
was like,
about
I'll
to
be here in
arrive
2 minutes. And I was like, let's go.
I was like, okay. So then I had to wait in the lobby for like 15 minutes for Jeff to come back.
No, but they like hooked it the fuck up.
Yes.
And we've just got, and then we were debating over lighting. Zach came in with a spray tan, which here's my thing.
Yeah.
As a guy, and I might get some flack for this, I don't think guys should get spray tans. I don't. It looks too like fake and almost feminine. So I do. You guys know I love a tan. I'm out in the sun doing my thing, whatever.
Yeah, Jeff loves skin cancer.
I mean, it's coming for me. Whatever. It came from my dad, and guess what? He still was like baking in the sun. So whatever. But so then this was making me look pale, and I was like, "But I'm not. I'm tan." So we had kind of changed it to like a warmer tone. But then Zach was like, "I look orange." I'm like, "Cause you have a fuck." And but it normaled me out. But Zach looked orange because he has a fucking spray tan or a la
Because
la
I
whatever.
know how things play on camera. So you have to play to the camera. In person, it maybe looks real fake or whatever, but I'm on camera every fucking day of my life. So I play to the cameras. So that's why I came in with my Give Them La La bronzer on. But like, look at my muscles be popping on camera. Look at that.
Mine are not. I look so washed
That's
out.
because you're. Like, I just want to show the
Wait,
show
look
you.
at how pale the inside of my arm
Boom.
is.
Look at that.
Wait, look at
Boom.
this. Look at how
I can
pale.
see
Do you
that.
see that?
Yeah.
Versus.
Boom. But also,
So I am actually. You can see now that I am quite tan.
you don't
Considering
look
my.
tan. You look red, which is like sunburned.
It's rosacea. You fuck.
I've been there. It goes away when you cover it up with fake tanner.
Anywho.
Anywho, thank you guys for catching our first episode back in studio. It was a little unhinged, but we had so many stories that we got to go through.
Oh no, and I feel like I have more. And this is first, but I feel like we're probably gonna release this second because we're gonna start out with a real bang. We have a guest
Yeah.
coming in shortly, so you'll be hearing these
Back to
opposite,
back.
back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they'll be released on the same day. You have 2 episodes today.
Yes. And we're gonna come back with more stories. And yeah, I think next time maybe I bring a whiteboard and draw this diagram. So basically, you have to watch the episode, not just listen, because it's gonna be things
Wild.
getting messy. And then yeah, I'm going to New Jersey next week, and then I might even one of the boys whatever, he's actually also there, so I kind of want to and then the other boy that moved to New York City, so I might go see
Hoes in every zip code. I have guys in every city that I go into.
you want to truly corner the market.
Yeah.
You need to yeah.
But you want to always have at least like 1 or 2. That way, when you go into town, those are options. But you can also like be single and keep your option open if like you want to find somebody new. But then you still have at least that one staple that you know you can fall back on.
Oh yeah, and then I have Grinder queue ups there as well. That's separate from like
What is a grinder queue up?
like queued people from Grinder queued up.
Oh yeah. Oh, because you're like, I'm going to town. Boom.
Well, or like I've been there before, so then like you're
Yeah.
in each other's favorites, and like when you coming back, you're like, oh whatever. Or
Yeah.
you always make things happen. So we're making things happen. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting. Please leave us 5 stars to
5-star
offset
reviews.
Zach's behavior.
But I literally didn't do anything. I didn't do
Arguing with
anything.
people on Twitter, and this one ridiculous girl going in, and I literally was like, Zach, just like either block her or don't say anything. I was a part of that too. Guess what I did? Nothing. I don't respond to any of that crap. There must have been, and then I'm getting all these fucking notifications. There must have been like 16 responses in this goddamn thread. Zach going back and forth with her every time, and I'm like,
Well,
stop
she was
talking.
she was such a fucking bitch, okay? And then I went and I looked at her profile and she's just like, "Oh, flowers, I'm a caregiver."
29 followers. No,
She's like, "I'm a caregiver." And so I was responding back to the bitch. I was like, "Don't you have somebody to go caregive for?" And she's like, "You could never do what I could do." I was like, I hear a bell ringing. You should probably go check that."
no, but that's what they're feeding off of.
I
Literally,
know.
it's so much more annoying to them if you just don't respond. I don't
I
respond
know.
to any of it. That's literally you not responding is like,
Listen,
oh my god, what
I
a
will
jab.
tell you though, I don't respond to like 90% of it. But after you get through 90% of it, there's always going to be that one fucking bitch that just drives you crazy.
Oh, again, people on Instagram will say things about my name all the time in comments, and I usually don't. And then occasionally I like bite back. So I get it. But then I was like, Zach, stop talking to this fucking girl.
I know, 'cause
Sometimes
you
know
were
what you do?
you were in the mentions.
Save it for in person. I actually very quick before we wrap up snapped at somebody at CrossFit 2 days ago. Not snap, but I was like, this is where I can kind of like get my little like cuntiness out.
Yeah.
We're sitting there. They're going through the brief, which means everything's quiet because the coach is like going over stuff. I
Yeah.
happen to be by these cubbies. Somebody's phone is going off on loud. It's ringing. It probably rang 7 times. It's first of all, why is your phone on loud? Second, after it rings the first time, be like, oh wait, let me either answer it or put it on silent or both or whatever. It's just going on and on and on. So I'm like, hey, like somebody's phone's going off. Somebody's phone. I must have said it 17 times. Finally, I was like, oh, and it was just like on the cubby on somebody's sweatshirt. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like turn this person's phone off real quick. And some guy looks and he was like, that's my phone. And I'm thinking, were you not listening to a ring? Were you not listening to me say somebody's phone's going off? Like, what the fuck? He's like, that's my phone. He's like, he's like, what do you want, my phone, bro? And I was like, what? And then he goes, you're just going through people's belongings now? And I was like, oh, I'd hardly classify this as going through people's belongings. And I was like, and I don't know why in 2024 we still have our phones on loud. I was like, but here we are.
Mm.
And he was kind of, then we're running down the street. and he was coming the opposite direction, and it gets very crowded on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Okay.
So he's coming this way, and sometimes it's like rules of the road, like right side, left side, whatever, but it was so crowded. So I actually very politely just kind of like stopped and kind of leaned up against the building. He just like, instead of moving, just like runs and like stops right in front of me, goes, ugh, taps my shoulder, then it goes to run past me and rams his shoulder to my shoulder so hard. Zach, I'm like, so help me God, you motherfucker. So I'm like, I forget exactly what I yelled back, but I was like, okay, we're gonna get a real aggressive and pop off for a second. Then I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I need to go get a fucking screwdriver. I was like, I need to hold it to this guy's throat. Like, I was so fucking livid, but I was like, I can't fuck up my place at CrossFit. Like, I can't be doing it there. That's where I got my conscience out, though, because after that, I was like, you motherfucker. So do it in person, not where it can affect our views. Is the
I
moral of the
do
story.
do it in person, and then you get mad at me, and you're like, stop acting like you're in a fucking reality show.
That's true, too.
I literally, but like, who I am online is who I am in person, too. I'm a little messy.
I can be a little messy, too.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I want to...
We're June Geminis. We're celebrating our birthday this week.
June 14th and 15th. Don't forget it. Venmo us for our birthdays.
Okay, well, they're gonna be listening to this way after the fact.
Venmo us for our previous
After the
birthday.
fact, yeah.
Not way after
kickback.
the fact. This will be out soonish.
Soon, yeah, not that long, but yeah.
Venmo us for just the good day.
Yeah, Venmo's for a good day. Also, if you have a disaster dating story that you want to
Yes.
send in, people have sent in stories which we'll break down in the next episode, and we'll try to do at least 1 to 2 stories every episode that you guys send in. So you can email them to Disaster Daters Podcast. Where's my camera? Oh, right here. You can email them into Disaster Daters Podcast at gmail.com. Disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. Send us your stories. That way we can blast you. You can stay anonymous. You can submit like a fake name like George, or if you want to call yourself like Jason's side piece, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. You know, Big Bertha from Birmingham, whatever you want to call your Lauren from Utah, however you want to be called. We will refer to you that way. Just make sure you sign off the email that way. Otherwise, we'll put your whole full name and your social
Or
security
if you're like,
out.
hey, I want a shout out, then be like, oh yeah, of course
Yeah,
we will.
we'll
Or
shout
yeah,
you out.
otherwise we'll call you Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, Mama June.
Yeah, Mama June. Oh.
Do you miss
Who
her?
gets more dick than all of us?
I know. The dick is fire.
The D is fire.
Oh, the D is fire.
Yeah, oh yeah, Gypsy Rose also getting more dick than all of us.
She's famous.
She was like, I feel like when we last recorded, she had like maybe just gotten out of prison. And so now since then, she's really just flourished and is, I mean, back to
Living
back.
her best life.
Yeah. The new fiance.
She's on the Kardashians.
I was taken aback. Oh, fuck. The new episode came out last night. I forgot to watch it.
Oh,
It's
I
comes
have
out at 9 p.m.
screeners for that.
Oh, really?
I get screeners for everything. That's
I
how-
know the Orange County. I was like, bitch, I want all these screeners.
I know. I sent Jeff a little clip from the Orange County, Real Houses of Orange County premiere because I knew it would get him excited. But it was good, right?
It was thrilling. It was exactly what I had tweeted.
Did you
something
hear
up.
my voice? No, because you weren't paying attention.
Are you like doing a voiceover like you did with Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
They used you again?
Yeah.
Why did they use you for twice?
Because they like me.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Me and Kempire. They keep using us. This is the 3rd time. So me and Kempire were in the Beverly Hills finale with Kathy and the Slur and Aspen. We were in that finale, and then we were in the premiere about Kyle and Mauricio's breakup, and then Kempire and I are also in the OC premiere breaking the news about Shannon's DUI.
What? I didn't hear your voice maybe because it was like muffled, but
Well, because
again?
it's all the cross. It's just the voice, so you're like watching what's happening, and the voice
and
is
yours
just kind of
voiceover?
overlaying.
Again? That's literally
Again.
like 2 West Coast shows from the same company, like back to back. It was literally this season.
Well, because I think Evolution already knows
Yeah.
us, and they have a good relationship with us.
Well, I want a voiceover.
All right, thank you guys for listening to
Thank you guys
Disaster
for
Daters.
listening. Sorry, this is
We'll
the
see
longest
you.
goodbye ever.
Okay, bye.
Bye.